Clearly, you look like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You look like. So you sitting here trying to claim Gad, and Gad is not even over here. Gad is in South. First
What's the name? Say he was.
black. And
Yeah,
white.
that homie, they call him Gadangways, which is Gad and Dan. And then
I like that Indian man. It was Indian or was that
You had,
Latino in the video?
okay.
Oh, he was Mexican.
Well, he's funny, they were looking for gold. Portuguese.
When they came over there,
Yeah.
But they wouldn't.
yeah,
Somebody on the outside.
What he said, how they went and killed and changed the name, but I like the way I know that's passage too in the Torah where they went back. Where it said in when they went and changed the name to that place.
right,
Of their forefather died.
right.
Yeah.
That and the home of Dan, home of Gad. You had a Judah,
That's right.
where Judah was.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That was he's talking about all 12 tribes was there.
Yeah. And part of that, man.
Right, right.
Oh yeah. My classmates.
Still to this day they settled there. That's real, man. Land right there draw a lot of attention, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Got control of what he had.
In the CIA, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got that narrative so they can go in and invade. As long as they say somebody's there that's a terrorist, they can go in there and do whatever they want to do. All right.
I think no idea.
All right.
Up there, and it said so they had it. But no, they took it further. So the Africans that were over here before the Native Americans were Hamites.
Well, this is the thing about that.
Huh?
All right.
That's what the video was saying.
The Indians were here already.
Already what?
They was already here.
nation. Hebrew kingdom building. All right. So today, we're gonna be just based on my current events. But what we talking about, finish what we talking about earlier. If y'all just joining us, we had a previous discussion and we was talking about what we talking about? We was talking about Native Americans. And one day the traditional race. When there was certain time for want to be free or whatnot, and anytime you hear about Underground Railroad, you think they went north, but originally they didn't go north. They just did. That's a myth, right? They went north later on, but originally they all went south. And the reason why they went south is because Florida was still owned by Spain. I think Spain. Yeah. So Florida's still owned by Spain. So because Florida's still owned by Spain, Florida put out this thing and they said, well, if you come here, you can live there.
You can make it happen.
Right. So a lot of our ancestors, they were run down from the original, like St. Petersburg, the major cities in Florida were built by freed slaves. They're never gonna tell you that. It's a fort down there right now called Fort Negro, and it was their fort, but they protected that area. So later on, you had Native Americans that from other places that came down there and dwelt with them, like basically lived with them or whatnot, cohabitated with them, and then they started having children. So that's how you end up with the Seminole Indian, right? Because the Seminole Indian is a mix between a Cameroon and like a Choctaw or a Chickasaw Indian.
Florida State too.
Right. So that's why people say hear the word mulatto. It was kind of like the same word. So, but those are those people. Now, when the Trail of Tears happened, there's nothing they're not gonna tell you. That majority of them people that was in there in Florida was still black. So when they drove them out of there, 35% of the Trail of Tears were actually black slaves, not black slaves, mixed, Indians or whatever, and blacks that came out with them. Then after the Emancipation Proclamation, before the Emancipation Proclamation, the white man basically came to the Native Americans, and when they first started settling in the United States, especially the southern colonies, and we was outnumbering them. So they started worried about us outnumbering them. These groups they called the 5 civilized tribes. And so according to basically what happened was the white people started saying, well, we'll declare y'all to be civilized if y'all have slaves, Negroes in check. And they started having their own slaves. So when the Emancipation Proclamation came through, this is around the same time they was having issues with the North and stuff like that. So it was certain ones, I'm trying to see if I remember this right. Certain ones from Native Americans actually fought with the South in the Civil War. When I go through that, I'll show you the pictures or whatnot. They actually fought with the South in the Civil War. So anyway, so after all this happened, the Emancipation Proclamation came through, then the white man was like, hey, look, this y'all, we done passed this proclamation, you gotta let these slaves go. And mainly because they was doing something new, which was called convict leasing. So they basically started another type of, went from slave Americans. This is how because they sided, because y'all had them enslaved, they entitled to just like it's like almost like the 40 acres and mule thing. So many acres of land, X amount of money, and all the benefits that y'all got, free free land, and we supposed to have money in it because eventually when they had the casinos, that's supposed to be ours. It's on the book to this day. So you talking about millions of dollars, probably maybe a trade. I don't know how many millions of dollars, $1 billion or whatever that we don't have. That's supposed to be in our pockets that they stole from us. This is why all the bad stuff happened to them, because again, what happens to us will eventually what happened to you. Oh yeah. Right? You know how the curses work. It says the curses first come upon us, then come upon our enemies. But if you read the treaty, it's called the Freedmen's Treaty. So it says in the treaty, it says free slaves and black Indians. Okay, so it's going back to that, and basically trying to explain the fact that there were black quote unquote Native Americans. They didn't call themselves Native Americans. They were just here, just like we here, but we ain't from America either. You know what I'm saying? So So, but at the same time, they were a minority. It wasn't like they was the majority, and the majority was the red man. Now, at one point in time, I was going to do this whole study in Hamites that came to America. Hamites came to America, especially Egyptians. Egyptians were coming to America. I don't know how many hundreds of years before anybody did. I mean, it's a place out in Arizona, and it's a cave, and literally in the cave there's an Egyptian that's teaching. But am I live? Y'all, am I live? Let me make sure this thing's live. I think I'm just froze. Yeah, I'm live. I'm looking all crazy too. All right, so saying that to say, yes, it's a in Arizona. We got Egyptian inscriptions in it, tomb, all this other stuff. So they was coming here way before anybody was with them. And then there's people talk about the Olmecs, which Olmecs was the original civilization. When we went to West Africa, you'll find out that it wasn't us. You see what I'm talking about? The Olmecs, I forget how many thousand years BC that they claimed that they came from West Africa and came over here. And that was the time frame put them before the Exodus and before in West Africa then. But the time of the Olmecs predate that. You know what I'm saying? So again, those are your Africans, right? Like the Egyptians and stuff that came over here. After that, you had the Asians that came over here, on the Mongolians and all that came over through the Bering Strait. So that's the reason why if you watch these things like these DNA reveals they have with some of the Native Americans, and they keep talking about some of the natives that's in the north, like in Canada, like the Eskimos, they got the exact same look, right? And that also dispels the whole myth about climate. I'm gonna read y'all a quote in a second about us, and because one of the myths of that time period, everybody knew that before the 1900s, everybody knew Israel was black. Before the 1900s, we ain't talking about ancient times. I'm talking about before the 1900s. I'm gonna give you some quotes. They all knew it, and what they were trying to figure out was, it's like, why do you have these white Israelites in Europe, and why do you have some light on what the deal is? And I'll do another teaching, or I'll do a video, either one, and I'll explain that. I'll show you some images of like the people that come like
Conquest.
Yeah. The Spaniards,
that's right?
Because the Spaniards knew about us. That's what I'm about to get into about the Sephardic.
Yeah.
People running around talking about the Sephardic Jews. Everybody prior to the 1900s knew that the Sephardic Jews was black. Give you the quotes. Everybody. I got 50 plus quotes to talk about it. Everybody. The black Portuguese. One of them, the right writer was talking about. He said that the black Portuguese were blacker than some of the native Africans. Talking about how black they were, right? The one and talking about their hair and all this other stuff. And it was the Sephardics. Now given you have the ones that was in England, right? Those that they call them the Moors or whatnot. But both of them are Yehuda because they got took there by the Romans. Okay, 70 AD, the Romans took some of them into slavery and they brought them to other parts of Europe. That's how we read in the Brit Hadashah. We see that. Yeah. He writing letters to Rome, and it's Yehuda there. And actually, that was called the Iberian Peninsula. So anyway, saying all this stuff, trying to figure out. I kind of lost my train of thought. But up to that time, the Sephardic Jews, the nickname for them was the Black Portuguese. That's what they called it. So now you see these people, they're converts, but the Sephardics, they're the real Jews. Every last Sephardic Jew that didn't die was took to West Africa. Prove it through history. I can show you all in Africa, and it's also how those languages like French and Spanish end up being in West Africa, right? They try to act like this because when they came and tried to conquest Africa, no, they brung us over there. So you had the God, some of the Gad and Dan that came before anybody did, right? Then later on you had the Northern Kingdom, and you had Yehuda come down before then. You had Yehuda come down during the time of Babylon, right?
You got to go through the area.
Right.
To be confirmed.
Right. Right.
Because you got to go through the area.
Right.
At your appointed time.
Exactly. So it seemed like let me read y'all this quote and then we'll get started on this lesson. This book, I'll read you the name. It's a long title for this book. Because them old books got these really long titles, from the 1800s. But I'm gonna read you this quote, and it's gonna sum up. I'm gonna read you this book. This is from his book. It's called Africa, being an accurate description of the regions of That's how old it is. It says Egypt instead of Egypt. You know, like it said Ethiopian. That's how old this book is. Y'all see the writing and stuff on it. It's photocopy. It's the islands of the Mediterranean. The cultivate and barter wonderful plants. Bro. That is a title. All right. So anyway, I'm about to give you this quote. Now listen now. This is King. This
Now,
is.
here goes a quote right now. Okay.
Check this out now. Africa, page 34. Many Jews were also scattered over this region, from the natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides of the Niger River. Now, you got them, right? Everybody know about it? Niger, reading the book of Acts, right? Asian strangers who fled there, we're talking about from Asia, you're not talking about calling them Asians. Now check me out. Who fled there from either the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian, Persians, right? So these are people coming there, the Saracens, the chieftains, or else as ones, check this out, out of parts of Italy in the year 1342, out of Spain in the year 1462, out of the Low Country in 1350, out of France in 1403, out of England in 1422. See, they don't want you to know. I was like, what? Your boys giving dates when they came over there, bruh. All right? Anyway, out of the Low Country in 1350, out of France in 1403, out of England, my bad, out of England in 1422, to West Africa, depleted, or it's like some kind of weird old English word, but basically it's hated, of all nations, and abominated by the Turks. They are not admitted to be Mohammedans. In other words, someone wasn't allowed to be Muslims unless baptized, other than gather taxes. So they were made to be tax collectors and stuff like that because they had to pay taxes. The Kafirs, that word Kafir was a slang word for criminal, because the Portuguese was sent there as criminals because they didn't become Romans. They didn't become except the Roman Catholic religion. I'm gonna give you that quote next. Yeah. All right. The following influentially. Oh, now check this out. The idolaters are numerous in Negro land. Upper and lower Ethiopia, and towards the Great Ocean, except it was hidden before some few who by the industry of the Portuguese and the Spaniards have become converted, baptized in several places. For the Mohammedans arriving there from Asia and Arabia. You got me. So he told you that the Sephardics came there, depopulated by the Romans, the Persians, the Saracens, and the chieftains, or else came out of Europe. Heard me, right? Out of Spain, right? He told you they both came to West Africa. Case closed. Shut the book. It's over. But I can give you more. These Portuguese. Then we're gonna keep going. Oh, truth Noah, just hold on a second, man. I'm trying to get to your question too, all right? Just hold on a second. Gotta find it. The dude that brought out these quotes, man, he had so many of them. I gotta kind of shoot. Hold on, yeah. I'm about to be there. And by the way, while I'm trying to find this, it talks about too how during the Inquisitions, they had a book of names of the people that were torturing and stuff. That's what they called it, Negro Jews, where they were trying to force them to convert to Catholicism. And so a lot of them were tortured and killed and beat. And I got that quote too. But I don't want to be sitting here trying to find it. I got 20 different slides in this thing. And there's another quote. So in case we get this real fast, this is from one of these books from the 1700s. It says the Spanish and the Portuguese Jews claim. So that's one of their quotes, but that's not what I'm looking for. Hold on a second. This is what happens when you have too many quotes. Hold on a second. First-hand accounts of Jews that live in West Africa, right? It says Yehudi, a great place to trade. Yehuda, Yehudi, right? This place is reported to be inhabited by one of the lost tribes of Israel. Possibly immigration. It is impossible. It is impossible that many of the lost tribes of Israel would be found dispersed in the interior regions of Africa. When we shall come to be better acquainted with the continent. So you get the idea. I'm just going to throw it out at you real fast. I'm trying to find this quote about the Sephardic Jews. Oh man, y'all need it. Alright, I'm going to read this bottom quote. This is from, this book is called Attributable and Religious Whatever. One of them books from the 1800s. It says, the Portuguese who planted themselves in the coast of Africa, going back to the Sephardic, call them Portuguese Jews. The Portuguese who planted themselves in the coast of Africa a few centuries ago have been succeeded by their descendants, blacker than many Africans. Blacker than many Africans. Just in case they want to know. So that's one of them. This a dude, like this some other explorer's journal, and I'll read this and I'm just gonna get started because I know I'm killing this, but it says this is him talking to a sheep that was race. The gypsies, the Chinese, dark are they to a certain extent. So are the Mongol tribes, the American Indian, the Eskimo, and the inhabitants of nearly all Africa, of East and Australia. What a field of extermination lies before the Saxon, Celt, and Sumerian race. Historically, that each of the external differences of these cease to be characteristic. Thus, the black color is found not in black Jews culture, but in tribes in the Bakars, or the Red Sea, whose hair and character are perfectly Semitic. So, anyway, so you're getting the idea. Anyway, this is a quote about Pope Pius. I think he's the one who sent us, who put out the edict to put all the sub-Saharan Africans in slavery. It says, in this place called Alexandria, in persecution, who treated the Jews. Now we just heard about who the Portuguese Jews we call the black Jews, right? The black Jews of Portugal, who treated the Jews as the cursed children of Ham. You ever heard about the Hamite curse?
Right.
That's where you got it from. So it says Pope. Let's go ahead and get into this lesson. So, Khalil, you pray us in.
For you have made us glad. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to study thy word and let that word go forth in spirit and in truth. In the name of Hamashiach Yeshua, we pray. Amen.
Amen. So hopefully this is going to work. So I just put this in. I was kind of looking at it and I kind of saw it come together, and it's just showing you that we're getting closer. You know what I'm saying? Don't mean that, again, I'm not no date giver. I'm giving no dates when it's going to happen, that going to happen. That ain't what I'm trying to do. I'm just basically, you know, scripture says when we see these things, you know, they near, right? And let's see if this is going to work. All right? Isaiah 61. You're going to read a couple of verses in there. Now, is that just like Daniel, when Daniel was writing and he understood that the time of the deliverance of the people when they was in Babylon was up, because he read Jeremiah. Jeremiah prophesied they're going to be there for 70 years. We looking at the prophecies too, and we seeing that Israel has never been in captivity for 400 years together. But if you really go down and you break it down, you see that they might have been in Egypt total for about 200 something years, 250. They wasn't in captivity. Right. They were welcome there, beloved there, you know, and then they ended up being, you know, going into slavery. So the slavery that was prophesied is that they was going to go into slavery for 400 years, and they're going to be oppressed. You know, from the time of 1619, some people say from 1618. I heard that before too, but from 1618 to 1619, that time frame to now, we've been here at least 398 years, right, or 99 years, depending on which you talking about that time frame. So now, as we get into this time, we're seeing signs and wonders. We're seeing signs and wonders. We're seeing judgments. We're seeing the Most High article that I was gonna put in here, but I didn't because I was dragging my feet so much. But it's an article that talk about what?
Proclaim that time to rebuild Jerusalem.
And send the people back, right?
Yeah.
Right. So all of a sudden, Cyrus is in the news in this last days of time, and the people, right, his birth or whatever.
Okay.
Because they say that his birth is like October. What is that? 29th? 29th, I think. Now, Isaiah 61. We know that the end of the 400-year captivity is the good news for us. It is the restoration of us. It is the salvation of us. It is the resurrection about Moshe, right? And before children of Israel can be delivered, the first thing that happened was Moshe had to what? Come back to his identity, right? If Moshe didn't go back to his identity, the children of Israel would still been in Egypt. Not that the Most High can deliver him, because the Most High can do anything he want to do. But he chose into his identity. Now, he wasn't accepted by his brethren when he did, because they thought he was just causing trouble. They thought he basically what he was saying was bogus. But he knew what Yah had told him, and he walked it out, right? And through that, they got delivered. So anyway, Isaiah 60, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty unto the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Well, we just read about how, we just talked about how it was prophesied to Abraham, or Avram, there's going to be 400-year captivity, liberated, right? That's the news. That's the gospel. That's what people don't understand in church. People talk about the gospel and all this other stuff, but they understand what that gospel is. Of course, it's Mashiach, because if Mashiach didn't die and rise again, there will be no salvation. There will be no, what we're about to get into is the substance. You see what I'm saying? Again, he said, the scripture says he's for the fall and rise. Let's go. To proclaim the what? And we can go down if we had time, but it says to point unto them that mourn in Zion, not the whole world, to appoint them that mourn. With Ezekiel saw it. Man, I don't know if black people will be able to come together. Right. That's what they say, right?
Crabs in the barrel.
We always, again, crabs in the barrel. We always against each other. We always separated. So he's asking the question: can they come back together?
Other than funerals.
Say what's again?
Other than funerals.
Other than funerals.
Can they come together?
Yeah.
Other than for the dead.
Right. And so anyway, so that's what we're seeing right now. So I just want to establish that the acceptable year of Yah is tied into the vengeance of Yah, right? In which Yah is going to do what? Execute vengeance. So what year is that? Could that possibly be the last year? So could it be that final year is the year of vengeance? You see what I'm saying? So anyway, let's keep going.
It will be.
I'm gonna get this real fast. All right. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will rise up against who? Babylon. Now, you can go online right now. There's probably 15 million dudes from every aspect of who teach the Bible, or whatever. And most people they'll tell you America's Babylon. When I was a kid, they said we don't see American scripture. We don't know who America is. America don't exist in Revelation, so we don't know what's going on. All this other stuff. Now it all came to the conclusion that America is Babylon. It's not even close. If you read the scripture and you read it for what it is, you can't come to any other conclusion. Okay? So in this scripture it says, Yah says, I'll raise up against Babylon and them that dwell in, which in this season what we've seen all these hurricanes. Right? Anyway, let's keep going. I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall come against her round about. Now that's interesting. That's interesting also because fanner is somebody who fan a flame. And what we're seeing right now, forest fires all over the place, right? Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow against him that lifted up in his brigandine, spare. And they look at you like you ain't good for nothing but to be where you at, right? And they give you the reason. Babylon has to be destroyed. Why? Because Israel has not been forsaken, nor Yehuda of his Elohim. For Yahuwah of armies, though the land was filled with sin up to the nostrils of Yah, right? They're drunk enough of wine, and then therefore the nations are mad. Now hold on to that, because I'm gonna give you. We'll get into some events that happened this week, and I'm tie that back into that. Okay, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for now? We would have healed Babylon. Say what now? Yah says, I would have fixed it. I would have spared them. He's telling you. Remember, he spared what? Nineveh. Let every one of us go into his own country. Now, listen to that now. So another thing it's telling you is that wherever this Babylon is, people there from every other country.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
For her judgment reached up to the heavens. So now he's talking to Israel. So let us come and declare in Zion. So that means you got to do what? Lead. Right? So that's what's going back to, anyway, we'll just keep reading. Make bright to his tomb to commemorate his birth. So the ends. Right?
All the nations.
And all the nations. Because it's going to be what? A company of armies with them.
All of them coming up.
Right?
Rounds of
Yes. Right? For his device is a gift. The day of Yah, which is what the vengeance of our Elohim. Now we're reading that it's the spirit of that Yah has what? Stirred up the spirit of the Medes, of the Iranians. And right now. But it talked about how North Korea. Y'all know North Korea been how they've been working with Iran. Iran been giving them technology.
That's right.
So everybody sitting around together.
Don't put them in the mouth. Put the thing in the mouth and draw them near to him.
Right, right.
That he may serve his purpose. That's what he is.
Because it's his purpose, right?
It's his purpose.
It's both devised and done that which is spoke against the inhabitants of Babylon. So we
Falling apart.
right? So anyway, although that dwelleth upon how many waters? Many waters and abundant in treasures. Then we heard that's the same thing that Yehochanan said about what? Mystery Babylon, right? Abundant in treasures. Thy end is come, and the measure of thy covenants. Yahuwah, nation, confederacy of nations. This is what we're seeing. Because of what the stuff that Trump is doing, and because of the stuff that Trump is saying, Trump is turning all these other nations against us, and they coming together, right? And then you got North Korea, you got Iran. You're tired of being bullied, right? I wanted to get to this other teaching, which I ain't gonna be able to get to today, but the United States released information this past 2 weeks, and they said that they're going into Africa. They're gonna go and they're gonna occupy Africa. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
They're going in, matter of fact, they're going into West Africa. Literally. Homegirl, that's our governor. Who used to be our governor. I don't know if she's still the governor or not. Nikki Haley, whatever.
Yeah.
She said this past week, she said, we're going to Africa, we're gonna be in there for a long time.
Yeah, I saw that.
right.
Yeah.
That's the plan. They got this plan, it's called military drill no more, because they told you they going.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get back to military drills, because they having military drills, and now they're coming out saying we going. But the plan is, they said they're gonna go into West Africa, where we from now, and they're gonna be there and wage war against ISIS.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Did that make sense to you?
Frenchmen are there too. All kind of people there.
Yeah.
Got the Frenchmen there.
So, but anyway, but that's the idea. And what and I get to all this, you know, it's a whole other subject. But when America now has a boogeyman, as long as they have the boogeyman is ISIS. All they got to do is say the ISIS. In New York.
ISIS.
Right. Allahu Akbar. That's all they got to say. That's all they got to say. Think about how that's been the line. You see what I'm saying? They plant that thought in your head. It's almost like fear. It's fear and then a response. You see what I'm saying? So now they feel like it's justified, just like the whole thing with the dude that died in Niger, that died in West Africa, the black dude. As long as they say ISIS there, all of a sudden it's justified to go kill whoever that's there. You see what I'm saying? These other countries know this stuff, man. And I'm gonna say this, guy. I feel like it need to be said. What we do in America is America's they're wordsmiths. And y'all know what I mean by I say wordsmith? They know how to flip something and just call it something else, and because they call it that, everybody accept it.
Right.
Like, for instance, they start using the term abortion because abortion sounds better than murder. It does. So you say, well, I aborted the child versus you saying I killed my own child. Nobody's going around saying, well, I killed my son, I killed my daughter. They say I had an abort. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody knows stuff in the past. Right. But what I'm saying is, because of that word, because they can flip a word like that, you know what I'm saying? That word makes it have a different feeling. Change.
Yeah.
Regime change means I'm gonna come to your country,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill your leader, I'm gonna topple everything, and I'm gonna take whatever I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna make you part of my country. That's what
Bringing another regime.
we call it regime change. So they got somebody that's a bad man, so we gotta go have regime change. Now just think about this now. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and we see the video from Great Britain, France, and Germany in control America, because they're getting out of hand. Every last person in America will be like, oh man, we need to go to war. They be having a draft, like an instant draft, get people together. Anytime it's a third world country, anytime it's a country that can't fight back,
That's right.
then they say, well, we just go topple their leader. We don't like him. He's a bad guy. So we just go take him down and then take all their resources. So saying that to say, so imagine if that's your country.
Right.
And I'm getting deep into this. So this is the reason why I'm all for nuclear weapons. Let's say, and this is completely hypothetical, when we go back, let's say if we went back, and I ain't even trying to say this, but let's say some kind of way, the 144,000 is, they the leaders, they're like, hey look, we need to do something. We ain't gonna need that, because think about it. We the only bombed anybody. You see what I'm saying, how silly this is? So, but saying that to say, if you gonna have a nuke, I'm gonna have a nuke.
That's right.
Because this is my country.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? So if you look at it in that aspect, I fully understand why somebody would go get nuclear weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got all these other people that got all the European nations are allowing themselves to have nuclear weapons. But any other nation,
Can't have none.
you can't have them.
That's right.
That means that I'm gonna dominate you.
That's right.
Because anytime you get in check, I can bomb you at any given time. You have no defenses. That's not wise. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to say all that to say, give you the picture of why they would want to rebel. You see what I'm saying? Because after a while, you're gonna be like, nah, man. Nah, like, we're gonna protect our people at all costs. You're not gonna just, after I sit there and watch what happened in Iraq, and I have to say this to get the whole picture of this, and I'm gonna try to wrap this up. Remember, Iraqis, not Iraqis, they said, who they say, Afghanis supposedly hijacked some planes and ran them into the Twin Towers, and Twin Towers fell. 2 towers supposedly hijacked by Afghan people ran into the Twin Towers, so we went to war with Iraq. Did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
We went to war with Iraq. Why did we go to war with Iraq? Did they attack us? No, not at all.
On my job, man, a white guy was telling me, he said, let me tell you something. He was talking to me, I could tell he was shaky. He had been in the army, he just started telling me this.
Right.
And then what I'm seeing now is very prophetic, man. He was telling me, he was like, when we go to war, he said, when the United States go to war, it's not said they went there to take over the place, like initially.
Right.
He said they didn't realize it until they was left by themselves and they had to watch after each other, like watch each other back. He showed me all his wounds and stuff. He was like, man, and he was telling me this at this point in time, like, and nobody knew.
Right.
So it kind of, and he was a white guy. He was just like, hey man, what do you have any family members? And he was asking me about that. He said the economy of that place.
Right.
He said it's never about. He said they just raise up and send us there, and once we get there, we have to realize we are all alone.
Right.
And that was pretty.
That's deep.
He was an older guy. He showed me all kind of wounds and stuff. He said, man, I almost got killed. He said, and they didn't care. He said, to this day, he just felt isolated. He was like teary-eyed. He was just telling me that. I sit down in the office with him. He was just pouring it out. That system. He said, it's so deep, man. He was telling me how deep it is. It goes to a lot of layers, and I was like, man, you know. So, and then, like you talk, and that's what the scriptures say, like, really?
Right.
You coming back again? Right. To try to come back and destroy this place again? So now what he told me and what's going on now is showing me what the U.S.
That's all it's about. Petrodollars. It's about money.
Petrodollars.
Yeah, it's about oil and all the resources over there in West Africa. They coming to get it. Like, because going back to what we talking about, they didn't say they're going to Africa. Because we in control. What nation we going to war with? We ain't going to nobody. We just want to live. We just want to survive for the most part, right?
Right.
So when we go back, there is no war because when we put it in our place, we don't go on top of countries. Israel has never done that. Israel don't. But the Most High, they ran out the Canaanites. You know what I'm saying? Right. So this is the reason why you know that Israel not the people, because that's all they do. They warmongers. They are war hawks. They are arms dealers. You understand what I'm saying?
And you remember in the book of Daniel, when he told who the Antiochus?
Right.
He said he came up with one more thought, and they're like, I'm gonna run back down here again, back to Africa, and that's where you get destroyed at.
Right.
Coming back down there again.
Yeah, it's coming.
Think he's gonna go back down. I got an idea. Like, I know how to save this country.
Right.
Run back down to Africa and get their resources, but that's where it all ends at.
The system works. You gotta realize that. I'm in a big dissertation on this, but the way it works is Africa has all the resources. Africa is the richest place in the world. By far, it's not even close. All the exports, you got food and stuff that might come from Mexico and stuff like that, but all the exports of stuff like in West Africa, matter of fact. So cell phones, the push for cell phones, it's children right now in the Congo that's mining this ore that goes into these cell phone batteries. Some place you can get it, working for nothing in the world. Because the Congo, they say the Congo alone is worth something like $20 trillion. That's so much money, but they can't get none of it. So they really like, it's almost like they mining dollar, right? So you have so much gold, and then they will print you a dollar that represents that gold. It's nothing. It's just what they say it is. So they say it's worth this much, it's worth that much. If they say it's worth something else, it's worth that. And I'm gonna say this real fast. I'm gonna keep going to try to explain this. This is how they keep you under control. Let's go back to what he said about got money that ain't backed by nothing. That means that the entire economy is controlled by what you say it is. So it's worth, it might have 1% interest on it. So you go and work hard, you get you a house, you get your groceries, and all. You base all your income off that. But now I got the money. I print the money. So that means I own the corporations. You work for me because you go to a corporation that I own because I got all the money. 7%. You got to work twice as hard to do the same thing. So you got to put in extra. You got to pay overtime. You might have to get a second job. You understand what I'm saying?
Punch, y'all.
Right. You got to pawn something. You got to do all this stuff to try to catch up to that same. You're making the exact same thing. I just said now it's worth something else. Right. So you're going to go in, you're going to work harder, you're going to make me more money. That's right. I turn it down about 5%. So now you got your money back, so you can go back and buy some more stuff. You're a puppet. You understand what I'm saying? They're controlling you. So, but if it was set by, so this is why we didn't talk about this before, but Gaddafi. That's why they took Gaddafi down. Yeah. Gaddafi went to all the other African kings and stuff. He said, "Look, man, we got all. We can't let that happen. Yeah. Can't let that happen." But literally, Libya was debt free. You hear me? There was the only debt free nation in the world because they started backing it by their own stuff. That's right. And after that, by that model, they would have liberated Iraq. I think their currency is like the dinar or something like that. They was about to do the same thing. They came and they toppled them. So I'm trying to give you the idea, concept of what Babylon does. But when you see this, now you understand why the other nations be like, I'm done. I'm done. We ain't allowed this ain't gonna happen to us again. But no reason. Right? I told you again, the Congo, there was a genocide in the Congo. There was 30 million that died in the Congo just by the Dutch coming over there and just enslaving people and making them do stuff. That's our people. That's right. So it go on and on and on. So these people are seeing this in these other nations, they're like, we're gonna rather team up and we're gonna stop this. You said 51? Mm-hmm. What verse was I at? 13? Oh, that doors upon many waters abundant in treasures, thy end is come, and the measure of thy covenants. Yahuwah of hosts, or Yahuwah of armies, has sworn by himself, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall shout against thee. These are the other nations. They're coming, and they coming to do war with you because they tired. That's right. And we, or whatever, that the whore sit upon, they hate her. And since they burn her with fire. So in other words, they're like, they tired. They don't want to deal with that no more, right? And all right, 16th verse. When he uttered this voice, there's multitude of waters in heavens, and he caused the vapor to descend like at the end of the earth. He made images falsehood, and there's no breath in him. The works of vanity and a work of errors, and in the time of their visitation. That's what we're talking about today, ladies. We're talking about the year of Yah. All right. So in their time of their visitation, they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them. Well, he's the former of all things. Now I can read another verse, and they're gonna say that Babylon is called the hindermost of the nations. What does that mean?
The end.
Last empire, right? So America is what? The last superpower. Right. You get me? Rule and righteousness, and this is what we're doing right now. That's why we learn the scriptures. That's why we turning back to the Torah. We getting ourselves ready because when we rule in righteousness, there won't be no war. Right. How it's wicked, and how you shouldn't how we should do it, deal man with man. And those, if we practicing that, and he put you in that position, then everything upon it is gonna fall in place. If he give you the money and you gonna deal righteously, that means you're not gonna oppress nobody. That's right. You see what I'm saying? You're not in your own place. You're not going to try to take over somebody else's home. Yeah. So you content. All that stuff. So that's why Jacob's portion is not like them. It's why? Because of Torah. Right? It's the teaching. This is why scripture says that Israel gonna establish the earth. That's right. They're gonna return it back to Torah. Well, of course, the people and the people that's with them, other people might not, but they still got to fall up under it. That's what we're heading towards. Now listen what he says about them. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee I shall break in pieces the nations. I will destroy them. I will destroy the kingdoms. I will break in pieces the man and the woman. I will break in pieces the old and the young. I will break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces the shepherd and the flock. I will break in pieces the husband and the yoke. Sight. You're going to see it with your own eyes. Now, the time, because that's the point I'm trying to get to, I'm going to skip down. All right, so we're going to skip down to 28. Just to reiterate what I was telling you about the Iranians. the Iranians. So he says, the nations, the other nations, that's your assembly of nations or your confederacy, with the king of the Medes and the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land is dominion. The land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yah should be performed. Why? So basically what we read is that whenever this last thing happened, they're going to try to go out and fight the war. They're not going to be able to. I'm going to tell you why, all right? One post shall run to another, one messenger shall meet another, and show to the king of Babylon that city is taken at one end. Now, before I get any further, I'm going to ask you this question. Why do you think that one person have to run, go take? So you can't talk on the cell phone. You have to run and go tell somebody, right? Okay? One post shall run to meet the other, and the messenger shall meet the other, and they shall show to the king of Babylon that the city is taken at one end, and the passages are stopped, and the reeds that burn with fire, and the men of war are frighted. They're going to be scared. But thus says Yahuwah army, the Elohim of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is now it's called the daughter of Babylon, the descendant. So he's not the actual Babylon, right? That's right. The daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It's time to thresh her. Yet also and have swallowed me up like a dragon. He have filled me up his belly with my delicacies, and has cast me out. So right here it's talking about how again, it's talking about it's the daughter of Babylon, but it's comparing the leader like to Nebuchadnezzar. Now, what we seeing right now? We got a leader that's very prideful.
Oh yeah.
Right? Everything's about him. The violence that's done in me, into my flesh, be upon Babylon. Shall the inhabitants of who? So I ain't gonna say that. So it's showing what's gonna happen. They're gonna be rejoicing. They just are. That's what the scripture says. Why? Because they understand, at that point, they understand who they are and how they got to this point. Going back to what I just said about Africa.
They're going to know that they are the people then.
Right. And that, because look, this thing about us, this is why I don't want to go to, I don't want to go to Africa. I don't want to go to Israel. You know, this is the stuff they say. You know what I'm saying? When you tell them this. And it's because they have no idea who and what they came from, what they was, and what they're supposed to be. So, the hospital system. If I told you, hey, I'm bringing you to the hospital and give you a good job, right? Good job. You're like, man, give me a good job. I'm gonna give you a good job, man. Okay, yeah, man, give me a good job. So you go, man, I'm making $18 an hour, bruh. For real, yeah, man, I'm balling. Like, this what's up, man. Yeah, you're doing good. Then next thing you know, you see your cousin. Your cousin pull up and say, hey, what's going on, man? It's like, not much, man. Where you get that? Man, well, you know I got my own business. You got your own business? What are you doing? You know, well, man, I'm selling electronics. We just bought us a building, man. We done made it to a multinational corporation. So, man, so how much money you making now? You know, like a will, and they kind of left me that, so I ended up inheriting all that. Oh, well, for real, man. So I didn't know. How come my mom didn't tell me nothing about that? Well, you know, they figured you didn't want to know, you know, because, you know, they just said, how you just want to work a job, you know. So, because I told myself, we're good in America. You don't realize that you were nothing to compare to what you used to be or what you're going to be.
The former JP.
Scripture says we're going to go do better than our fathers. Solomon at one time was the richest man in the world. Abraham was one of the richest men in the world. What they've done is they warped your mind and they flipped everything. So, like, for instance, that's what Hollywood is about. Hollywood is they done created idols for you. Now, ain't no like, again, if you remember when Lil' Kim first came out, ain't nobody's calling Lil' Kim ugly.
Right.
They might be calling her a freak, but they were calling her ugly. Nobody was thinking that. But now she looks horrific. Yeah. Why? Because in her mind, what they presented to her is like, this is what and all that kind of stuff, and manipulate her body to try to be what the standard they set in front of her. Right? Now, saying all that to say, now we don't even have to go back. Let's say we're not even going back to Israel. We can just go back to West Africa before they took us. And you start learning about God, like how Ghana was before the slave trade. Before they took you down in Mali, you was the education. Right. How they would come to Mali to go to school. Right. You understand what I'm saying? When you talk about Mansa Musa, to my rich, some of my ancestors that was so rich, Homo was so rich, he went on pilgrimage. He was giving away gold when he was going. Yeah. Giving away gold. He gave away so much. That's right. Nah, man. Nah, I'm good. I got a good job, man. I'm good. Yeah. That's the mentality. So you've been conditioned to accept anything that's less. That's why you hate your hair. You hate your skin. Slow, you hate your hair. You hate your skin. You hate everything. You get people bleaching their skin, bleaching their hair, all this other stuff. You know, to try to what? To look like they idols. I've been running my mouth too much, but saying that to say, y'all get the idea. Y'all get the idea. So we're gonna go on. And shalom, fam. That's online. So I need to show y'all something real fast. Because Babylon is is falling, like we just read, and fallen is a state that they've already been in, right? So it's interesting that this happened this week.
Costume contest. We do it every year. It's always a lot of fun. Let's get started. Our first caress.
See that?
That was not a stunt. I'm overheated in my costume.
Sorry,
I did pass out. But
y'all
you
see
know
it
what?
though, right?
I'm a champ.
Don't
and
y'all
I'm
see it? Y'all
back.
get the idea. Now,
She failed.
she failed. Now, let's see if we're gonna play again. She was dressed up like who?
Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty. Right. And she was in where?
New York.
She was in New York, dressed as Statue of Liberty, and she failed.
Right.
Right? Interesting. Now, again, I'm missing some slides out of this thing, so y'all gotta bear with me. I'm just gonna jump on this real fast. She failed. She passed out. That happened on Monday. This is at the same time that we had. Here we go. This. No, 1 second. All right. Let's go. Let's go to. No, it's too early. Hold on a second. I'm gonna read this to you right quick. I'm gonna explain this. Y'all see what's on the screen? Everybody that's online, y'all gotta bear with me because I didn't finish this teaching. I didn't finish writing all this stuff down. All right. But here we go. Now, when we had teaching about the signs of heavens, right? Now, we knew that they had a great American eclipse, and we talked about that being a sign of Jonah. You remember that, right? So, because there was an eclipse during the time of Jonah. And that when Jonah showed up, the American eclipse, and 33 days later, we had the Revelation 12 sign, right? The sign of, the sign that appeared before Christ's birth, and it was also a sign that hadn't appeared, I don't know how many thousand years. So, yeah, 33 days after the eclipse, we had the Revelation 12 sign. Well, after... Hold on a second. If it goes... Hold on a second. OBS issues. Messiah, 33 years old. 40 days from that sign, and we had a terrorist attack. That was where? New York, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fall. Okay, I'm just doing this out here. I'm just showing you these little bitty signs. I'm just
Signs
showing
in
you
the earth. You
the
gonna
day
see
signs.
that.
You know? So the shooting that took place 40 days after the Revelation 12 sign, when again in New York, be important. Anybody? Let's read the quote. The name Manhattan comes from the Musi language of the Leni Lepe, meaning island of many hills. And on 7 hills.
Okay.
Right? Check this out. Other theory says it comes from one of the 3 Musi words, Mana Chatanik, meaning place of, check this out, inebriation. In other words, place of drunkenness. It has a cup full of what? Wine. That what? The nations drink and they become drunken and they become mad. Is above, meaning bows and arrows. When we just read Jeremiah 51, how Babylon has what? These bows, and they basically they have this military might. Archery. Right? They also, and again, Manhattan is the place of what? Inebriation, drunkenness, right? And it's the land that sits on many hills, or the 7 hills. So Manhattan is, you'll get the idea, is literally everything that's described. Manhattan is the epicenter of New York. New York is it was old York, right? Which is what? Great Britain. Not the exact same moment, but in the same day, the woman who was dressed as Liberty fell. All right? Revelation 12, verse 1 through 2. And there came 7 angels which had 7 veils, and they talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee unto the judgment of the great whore is fallen, is fallen.
You're going to what? See it.
See it with your eyes, right? With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of as wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains or the 7 hills on which the woman sitteth. Going back, Manhattan, which comes from the main meaning island of many hills. It comes from the word meaning place of commercial, financial, and cultural center of both the United States and the world. The world. Most major radio, telecommunication companies in the United States are based there, as well as many news magazines, books, and other media publishers. Manhattan has many famous landmarks, tourist attractions, museums, and university. It also has things. Right? She sits upon the beast. You got me? But when you saw her, what? Fall.
Witness it.
You witnessed it with your own eyes. It's funny because it's called the Whore of Babylon. You know anything about Whitney Williams and the stuff she be saying?
Come on, man.
The great city Babylon, the mighty city, in 1 hour thy judgment is come. The merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over thee, for no man what buy their merchandise anymore. The merchants of those things which were made, which you can't make this stuff up.
That's why I said wisdom. That's why it says the thing you just talked about. It said, "Here is the wisdom."
Right. And pearls, and they cast dust on their heads, weeping and wailing, saying, "Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. In 1 hour she is made desolate." So coming to America. All these places, the center of it is Manhattan, which is the commercial, financial center of both the United States and the entire world.
Yeah.
Right? Television, communications, all these different things. And it's also the place of drunkenness. That's what Manhattan means.
Rappers.
What TV, communication, everything. It's going through her.
Come through Manhattan.
And so you seeing what? She's being attacked.
Right.
You got it? And then she what? Falls. She's dressed up as Lady Liberty. Now the interesting thing about that is
She got laid in the dust, bro.
she
finna lay in the dust.
right.
She got all of her costly jewels and stuff.
Right.
Laid in the dust and mourn.
Right, exactly. Because she has to, right? She has to pay for her sins, right?
That's right.
So again, Liberty Island is federally owned island in Upper New York Bay in the United States. Is best known by its location of Statue of Liberty. The island is the enclave of New York City borough of Manhattan. It's a Hallel,
That's right.
right? Lucifer, what people say, right? The enlightened one. But remember, this is what she dressed as when she fell. This is the woman that sits on many waters. So she dressed up as the woman who sits on many waters. She's the whore of. So we get in the context, and that's what's one of the main things. I'm gonna hit the last point. We about to roll, right? So we heard about the 40 days. Remember, what did Jonah say when he showed up? He said 40 days, and Nineveh will be destroyed. So what you see in 40 days from the Revelation 12 sign, you get another sign. What? The place of influence of the what? The beast, the nations, who she rides upon in United Nations. So you seeing these little bitty signs, but they staring at you. That's why this stuff happened.
You make small signs.
No. So, Kyle, I just want to discuss that with y'all. Going back to her falling.
Costume contest we do
That's
every
she's
year.
dressed up as Liberty,
So it's
right?
a lot of fun. Let's get started. Our first caress.
And again, in the year of Elohim, what the day of, the time of judgment, it's upon us. We seeing it. These things are signs. It don't mean this. How close we are to this, and how the nations are already gathered together and they plot. And this is the last thing I'll tell you about EMP. And I had a video. Remember I told you about November 4th, right? I got a video and I can play it, but y'all won't hear it, so it won't do no good. November 4th. It's gonna happen. That's what they say it's gonna happen. That's all I'm saying. So you got that going on. Also on November 4th, the United States is planning an EMP drill. And most of them it's from a nuke. The dangerous thing about this is with a nuke, you can, with an EMP, you don't have to hit nothing. You don't have to hit no building or nothing. All you can do is blow it up in the air. And the further you blow it up, depending on how powerful, you won't be able to drive no car. You won't be able to use anything. You pretty much, you name it. Anything that has anything with electricity, you won't be able to use it. There have been government studies on it recently. They said that if they have an EMP, that within a year, 90% of the population of the United States will be dead. This will without actually refrigerate anything. You won't have any clean water. You won't be able to do anything. It will literally just like this place would literally come to a screaming halt out at once. So this weekend, the exact same time that Antifa is planning these riots or whatever, there's a drill that the government is doing all across America too, planning on a preparing for an EMP. Preparing for EMP. Just in case, like these are scenarios that like they think that it's very much possible that it's gonna happen. So they're going through these drills to try to like, in case it happens, this P on it, it's over. So going back, last scripture we're gonna talk about.
Dropping, I guess that's my question.
Well, this go back to what I something that I've been thinking a long time. So let's go to I think it's I think it's 47. Hold on a second, y'all. Make sure I got the right one right now. Isaiah 47. I said Jeremiah. I'm sorry. All right. Y'all get there, let me know. Start at the first one. So remember what I just told you. Now, if there's an EMP attack, it will literally black out all across the United States or a certain places, depending on how far up it is, the EMP blast. And there'll be no power, no lights, no anything, and it will literally be chaos. Like the whole United States would stop dead in its tracks, right? No throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Going back again to my daughter, this is descendant, it's not the actual. Right? For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take millstones and grind for meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy neck I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for as thy Redeemer, Yahuwah of hosts is his name, and the Holy One of Israel. Check this out now. Read verse 5 for me.
Sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms.
Sit thou in what?
Darkness.
Silent
Silent.
and in darkness. It means no lights. Silent, no power. You know, New York is called, city that never sleeps.
That's right.
Right? But if there's no power, you ain't hearing nothing. Anybody running around, people over there running around in panic. So in the scripture says, sit thou silent, get thee laid low. Yo, thou says I should be a lady forever, and thou hast not lay these things to thy heart, neither did thou remember thy latter end of it. So again, the attacks happened. They wanted to go fight, but they couldn't. They said they're like a woman. They in their holds. They can't go forth. Let's read it real fast.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, Jeremiah 51.
Just like darkness came on Egypt and light was in the house of Israel. Same thing.
Exact same thing.
You don't need the moon or the sun.
Go ahead, bro.
It won't be no need for the moon or the sun. For Mashiach shall be thy light.
Right. Tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yah should be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon desolation without inhabitants. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. In other words, they can't go out. Because remember, if this happened, you can't use no tanks, you can't fly no planes, you can't do nothing. Right? Therefore, and one messenger shall meet the other to show the king of Babylon the city is taken from one end. Right? So that means that they don't have no communications. You understand what I'm saying? So one person has to run, bring a message to somebody else. So again, and I'm not saying preparing, the United States is preparing for it.
Right.
They know it's coming.
They know it's coming. They study these, don't think they don't study these, they know these scriptures.
Right.
Right? This is the reason why they worried about Iraq. But Iran. They worried about Iran. This is the reason why they worried about EMP. They done read these scriptures. They got think tanks. That's all they do is study this stuff. The number one agenda. Same thing with Israel. They say the same thing. That's why they worry about Kim Jong-il and all this other stuff. Because they know that there's going to be a bunch of nations that's going to team up with Iran when this stuff go down. It's already going to happen. They already together. Russia, coming and you see where they're going to be, what should you do? What kind of, like Scripture says, what manner of person should you be? Right? Scripture talk about how we should what? Don't forsake the what? Assembling of ourselves together. So as we see that time approaching, we need to be, right? We need to what? Find each other, right? We need to come together. And let me preface that with what I'm saying. I don't believe it's going to happen this weekend. I believe that the whole thing with Antifa might happen this weekend.
Right.
I really believe that. I don't necessarily believe that it's going to happen this weekend, but it's coming. His people know.
That's right.
What's going to happen right before it happens? Well, he says he does nothing unless he does what? Reveal it to his prophets. So we seeing these things, and like I said, I just want to bring this to your attention. These signs, like, they're there. It's coming. The year of our Elohim is coming. Right? So
seek me while I'm near.
Say it again, bro.
Seek me while I'm near.
Right. That man. You know, so anyway. So again, we see the time approaching. Let's get this thing. You know what I'm saying? Not like preppers. You ain't gonna be able to buy yourself out of this, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the Most High.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So we just continue to do that. Go use the bathroom, sure. But anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom to everybody from this captivity. Let's find things to build on instead of things to be divided about.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Rebirth of a nation. Hebrew kingdom building.